himself. So Dave had to redeem himself because the last, I don't know, a million times we try to get up this stuff, he can never get up the first time. It took him like, what, like 1,000 tries every time? It was like 1,000 tries easy. So I got in his machine today and did it the first time. It made him feel bad. So now he's in his machine to make himself feel better. He's clear over there. Yep, had to show him how it's done. The XRC ripping it up on the rocks. All right, we're here at Sand Hollow. It's kind of freaking hot out here. Yeah. But Dave and I, so Dave's got the Talon right now after the switch. I've got the XRC. So we're out here to get some more footage and get some more just basically some more miles put in on the car. We're gonna do a couple little rock obstacles that we've done on Double Sammy, just to kind of go up those and see what it's like and the difference. We're gonna do a few of the whoops probably, record that, and a few other things just to put these videos together so we can get a good all-around experience in each of these machines to see what we like better and what we don't. But yeah, we're all about saying how we feel and we won't hold back, right Dave?
That's right.
So that's what it's all about, to make sure that we guys give you the information that you need when you go out buying this stuff. Because it's hard to do unless you get a chance to honestly take them out for a ride for a few days, not just around the dealer's parking lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Dave's got the Talon over here, got the XRC, and I guess we'll head out in the hot desert sun. It's crazy out here. Perfect weather last week, horrible weather as far as hot goes this week. So anyways, all right guys, thanks for joining us on this video. This has been quite the experience to swap up machines and having the opportunity to get in the XRC for a few weeks, put some miles on it, do some different type of rides. It has been a great experience. So in this video, I just want to go over some different talking points. I'm not going to have them in any certain order. We're just going to talk about things like the power. So like throttle response, the overall agility, the power that comes from this XRC, how it takes off, the clutch engagement, you know, how smooth it is compared to the KRX. Also the overall comfort. So like seating position, suspension, cab space, cab heat, just the overall cab and, you know, quality of the comfort of the ride and all that kind of stuff. Also the ideal riding environment. So like rocks, sand, tight trails, mountain trails, desert, you know, things like that compared to the KRX. And then also the fit and finish. So the quality of the car, how it's put together, the quality of the paint, the quality of the different things that are used to build the car, just the overall quality of it. We'll talk about in this video as well. So go ahead and hang tight. I've got different comments throughout this video on what I think. We've done some different little comparison things. I've taken it on a lot of similar trails that I've taken the KRX on. I had a great opportunity to run on some hard-packed dirt trails like you see here now and get a really good feel for the car. I also had a chance to get it on a few little rocks and in the sand, some whoops, some tight trails, things like that. So stay tuned in this video and make sure you hit like and subscribe button and we'll get going on the XRC review.
All right, Garrett's gonna go beat on my baby. And do a little whoop test. It's on the softest setting on the spring, so it's not gonna go real well for him, I don't think. And just watching him right now, it's like bottoming out. The XRC it's not meant for this, that's for sure. You'll find out real quick.
Quick news flash for everybody. For all those people that think that their machine that they own is the best and there is not anything wrong with it, guess what? You're completely wrong. Every machine has its flaws. Every machine does something better than the other one, and that's why we're doing these videos, to help you guys make a decision on what machine that will work best for your needs.
Yeah.
So we got about 28 miles per hour there. So not too bad. So that was the softest setting. None of the crossovers, nothing has been adjusted on this machine. So let's set it to the stiffest setting and we'll run it one more time.
Okay.
All right, so we're on the stiffest setting. We'll run the whoops one more time and just see. Last time, about 28. Honestly, I don't think I want to push it much more than that. And you start getting some back and forth,
yeah,
and different things, you know.
Just got an email back from Shock Therapy. They're developing an RIS system for the Maverick Sport.
Alright, so here's the difference. There wasn't any. So the most I get out of it was 28, 29, and honestly, hands down, this machine is not built to do whoops like this.
Not at all.
But to have a machine to still come out and run, say, 25 or so without any issues, if you wanted to, is a big plus. It's a lot better than a lot of machines.
It's pretty slow though.
To, you know, cruise over it at least without having to do freaking 10 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You know, 5 miles per hour like on the KRX, you know. So, I mean, it's not built for that by any means, but I think overall it actually handles it pretty decent. I know Dave's been talking about some springs getting switched out or something, some therapy on the springs, so
yeah,
be interested to see what it does after that. All right, so we're on our way up here. As you guys can see, Sand Hollow Reservoir is right down there. So some of the biggest things that I'm noticing in this machine, and again, the suspension is quite a bit different than my KRX, so is the little chatter stuff, is the stuff that kind of kills you the most, is all this kind of stuff. And I think once Dave looks at a different setup with these springs, also I wonder what an adjustment here you can make to soften them up a little bit. But you do get quite a bit of rough stuff through the chatter of just, you know, all that kind of garbage that's in the sand dunes. Other than that, as far as like the ride goes, it's not that bad. Like what I really like about it is actually the seats. I feel like sitting in the seats of these are pretty comfortable. So yeah, you know, it's lacking on the suspension, but it's hard because I can't compare it to the KRX because it's not built like that. It doesn't have the trailing arm set up. But having the seats, I feel like the seats fit you really nice and are really comfortable in this, and I feel like they're a little bit more comfortable and fit you better than the KRX seats do. The sitting position, I don't think it's good or bad. I don't know how to rate it because it sits me so different than the KRX. I think once Dave jumps in the KRX for a few weeks, he'll see what I mean by that too when you're in it for a while. It's just the seating position so different.
Kind of seems more like a truck to me.
Yeah, and I think even Joe mentioned it, you know, when he first got in the KRX too, how different it was from his Honda.
Yeah.
So that's all different. Everything's really close by, so I really like that on the cab. I have to get used to the cab. It's a lot smaller than the KRX. And I was really, really concerned being 6 foot, getting in the XRC, that it wouldn't be very comfortable for me. And I'm actually quite surprised how comfortable it is in here. It actually fits me pretty nice. And I actually like the feet basically area here and where the dead pedal is. I just feel really comfortable in it. So I even had Deidre riding in on passenger, and she feels like the way her feet sit on the 2 dead pedals on the passenger side is more comfortable than the KRX. So she felt like it just supported her better to put her feet on or something versus nothing there. And for me, I feel like that's really comfortable, and the gas and brake are really comfortable. So to me, as far as the comfort goes in the cab of what I was worried about, I'm not too worried about it. And I'm 6 foot and 1,000,000 pounds. So I fit fine.
Not 1,000,000, dude, just 500,000.
This is 999,000. So whatever that is. But the doors, everything, as far as that goes, it is smaller. It's a lot smaller inside, but it fits well. So I have no argument with any of that. I can see all this really well. I can see over the top really well. So I have to give comfort pretty high. I really like the seating position. I like the steering wheel up closer to me, which I like, and I really like where my feet are located on the bottom. So I really think that's a big plus on this machine. And just to hit a little bit of the fit and finish, these doors are put together 10 times better than the KRX. And I think Kawasaki can learn a little lesson on how to put some doors together. I think these are way nicer, dude. This molded setup is more of like the KRX 4, where you just get a nice molded plastic. They feel nice and sturdy. And I really like how these are all closed up here and they're a solid piece. So I think that's a big deal, and they feel nice and heavy and sturdy as well. So I really think that that's a lot nicer setup as far as the doors go than the KRX. And they do have the outside and inside handles, so that's no different than the KRX, which I think is cool. But I wish the doors felt more like this. Yeah. Let's get on Double Sammy, a couple little obstacles right here, and just see how it feels compared to the KRX. And you got the Honda Talon, and check it out. These are just great opportunities to get in each other's machines. This is the only way to do it, I feel.
Yeah.
So. All right, so I want to take some time to just talk about these two little obstacles I did in the XRC and kind of what I think about the XRC versus the KRX and the rocks. The biggest thing for me, the size of the XRC, I think is definitely an advantage in areas and not so much in others. Just kind of like the same when you're looking at a 4-seater versus a 2-seater, right? I feel like the clutch engagement on the XRC is a million times better than the XP 1000 that we had, but I feel like it's nowhere close to as smooth as the KRX. I feel like getting on the gas of the KRX, it's a lot smoother of a transition. When you touch the gas, it's got better clutch engagement, I feel like, than the XRC, which really helps with control. But the XRC is the XRC for a reason. It's built for the rocks. So I kind of look at that and say, you know what? The XRC handled these rocks like a champ. But at the same time, if I can get really good comfort out in the sand and on the trails with stock suspension and also have it climb the rocks like a beast, I would still have to go with the KRX. But throttle response of the XRC on takeoff when you get going, I love the way it takes off compared to the KRX. Okay, so as we're moving down the trail here, I just want to take a second to also talk about something that I haven't brought up yet, is cab heat. So I haven't had a chance to have the KRX out in any weather above 90 degrees. Today was above that. I noticed in the XRC that at times when we're moving slower, without as much airflow, of course, with the window all the way down versus up at all, there was quite a bit of cab heat. I don't know how to rate that. I haven't been in my KRX, like I said, above 90 degrees. But I really feel for those that are complaining about cab heat in the KRX, or if they complain about it in the XRC or the 1000 XP. The 1000 XP had cab heat as well. The XRC, I feel like, has cab heat, and I'm sure the KRX is going to have it. So I would just say that that's probably pretty normal. You might think one has it a little bit more than the other, but I think that's pretty normal. So cab heat, of course, is a lot better once I was able to raise the window at times and get more airflow in, so that works to be able to cool that off. But I did notice a little bit of the cab heat in the XRC later on as we were running longer and longer and a little bit harder. So this next clip is it's actually me driving the XRC behind the Honda Talon, doing the same trail but the opposite direction. And one thing that you'll see here is basically I had no chance to even keep up with the Honda Talon. Honda Talon 4 live valve, it's 4-seater of course, but even Dave mentioned to me at times he let off the throttle quite a bit so I could catch up more. But dude, I was on it, and people can say whatever they want, but I was driving that thing pretty hard. And I felt like I was getting right towards the end of the limit just because of the whoops and the different bumps. It just couldn't handle that, so I couldn't necessarily really keep up with the Honda Talon. If I got into straightaways or corners where there wasn't any bumps and the berms, I can easily stand on it and get caught up a lot more. But I cannot keep up with the Honda Talon at all for the suspension. And I feel like it'd be the same if you were to compare it with the KRX. I think the KRX would probably just leave it in the dust. So yes, you know, everybody that talks about the wonderful drag race, where the KRX is almost beat by like a Polaris Ranger or whatever, I think you guys seen it on social media. The XRC would probably, you know, waste the KRX on a drag race as well. It gets out of the hole really, really well. But the KRX would eat the XRC alive on this trail if we were going full out easily. There's no competition. That KRX just gets through the stuff so much better, and just from the suspension setup. So drag racing to us means nothing. This kind of trail riding means everything, and that's what means most. All right, so we just got done doing a nice whoop transition trail. You guys have seen it before where I was following in the KRX behind the XRC to get some good footage. So I have some interesting comments to make, because after, you know, the more I'm driving this now, it's so much easier to like get on the gas, and like you just have to drive them like we're doing in order to feel comfortable like going faster. It's hard to explain. But now that I'm starting to settle into the XRC, what I noticed was that I would love to have, I don't know how you do it, this platform on the KRX suspension. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Might just be the steering box difference, you know?
I don't know. It's hard to say, but you're also looking at difference in wheelbase with a little bit just the size of the car, right?
Yeah.
So going through the corners, I feel like the KRX is really tight. I feel like there's no issues with the steering. I think it's really comfortable, but I feel like the XRC has even more capabilities with the steering. It just comes around quicker. And that might be because it's a little bit shorter, a little bit lighter, but it just comes around quicker. If I just had the suspension under it, I could only imagine pretty how quick I could run through this stuff. Like, it's there. Earlier we were doing the whoops, I was getting 28, 29 miles per hour. I could do no difference here. In the transitions though, easily can handle it and stand on it and get above that and get going. It was just I'm very impressed in the way that it steers and the way that it tracks. And Dave has the track, sway bar off, which might even make even more of a difference for stability if we're running higher speeds. But he has a sway bar off.
Might even be better if it was on.
Could be better, yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, I thought it handled really well. It's not built for the suspension, don't get me wrong. I'm not, you know, that's not what the car's built for per se. But I like the way it tracks. Like, it comes around on you real quick. It's got good throttle response on the low end, and I'm able to get out of those corners pretty fast. So I was really quite pleased with the way that handled. I was actually quite surprised until I got to the whoops, and then I wish I had the KRX.
yeah.
So that makes, I mean, the KRX for riding stuff, comfort, night and day different. But like I said, this machine is set up so different than that. But I'm really, really impressed with the throttle response and the way it tracks through tight corners. Alright guys, so I want to go ahead and close the video with my final thoughts. This is a video of us doing double Sammy a couple weekends ago, and we already have that video up. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and head over there and watch it after this. So basically, a couple things that I have not covered yet in the video that I wanted to mention. A little bit about the fit and finish. I think the quality of the XRC is awesome all around. I think it's well put together. Like I said before, the doors are very, very nice and they're molded, and I really like that. One of the downsides I see with the finish on the XRC, and I could be wrong, so comment below if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that they could have done a better job with the cage and some of the metal front roll bars there on, like, you know, their bumper that's installed. I just think they could have done powder coating. It looks to me like it's more painted than powder coated, so I think it'd be a big deal if they were to powder coat that stuff, and it would look quite a bit better. I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe it is powder coated. It doesn't look like it is to me, so I could be wrong, so comment below and let us know. As far as the way that it's built, as far as the way that it's put together, the plastics, all that kind of stuff, to me it looks like a very solid car on the inside. I feel like the seats, like I mentioned before, are more comfortable, but I feel like, you know, they're more solid than the KRX, which is a big deal and a big difference. They don't move around at all. I feel like the sliders in the KRX are junk, and they need to do something to switch that out. So the other thing that I haven't really discussed was the ideal riding environment as much. Of course, we'll give it, you know, the rocks, and we'll also compare it a little bit with the KRX. Honestly, in my opinion, I know the XRC is built for the rocks, but I'm still going to have to give one up to the KRX on this. I just feel the KRX still has the advantage in the rocks. Now, the XRC does have advantage in different areas that are a little bit tighter, where it does come into play. But I think overall, I think the KRX has it. As far as the sand goes, I think the XRC moves around really, really well in the sand. It's lighter. It's got better takeoff. A little bit more better power when you take off and just get going, and it's got better wheel spin. So I think in that sense it does really, really well in the sand. I think it would even do way better if it had different tires on it, like my Carnivores. So I think it does an excellent job in the sand. Tight trails, for sure. The machine fits the tight trails. The whole size of the car, just in general, would fit tight trails really, really well compared to the KRX. Sorry, and I really think that's a big deal. Mountains. Normal mountain trails, it's hard to say. I'm going to have to still give it to the KRX because I just think the KRX is so much more smoother, and I just think it rides so much better. And this is just straight out of the box, no modification, straight out of the box. I just think it rides a lot better than the XRC. As far as desert, I think the cars would be compatible in the desert. The KRX just handles so well in the steering. I like the steering of the XRC. I like how snappy it is on top of the throttle response. That makes a big, big difference. But the KRX tracks, man. It tracks like a beast down the trails, and I think it would do excellent in the desert. I know there's a few people in Arizona, and different comments that we've had on our videos, that Arizona desert riding is a little bit different. I haven't experienced that, so if you have any comments, leave them below. But I really think that the KRX kind of takes it in the desert area for me, and the mountains, where the XRC might take it in the sand with different tires. And I think the KRX still takes it in the rocks. You know, it will be really, really interesting to see what Dave thinks about my comments after he gets a chance to have the KRX for a few weeks and gets a chance to kind of run it through its paces. I'll be interested to see if he agrees with me or he doesn't agree with me. But this is all about us being unbiased towards our machines. We really just wanted to make sure that we give you guys the information. So as you get ready to drop a hefty coin into one of these machines, you have some more information on, hopefully that will help you pick the one that you want. So the XRC is an awesome machine. Do not get me wrong. I would just pick the KRX still over it, but I really did like the XRC. I've enjoyed my experience with it, and we're getting ready to go on another ride this weekend, and I'll still have it until we make a swap. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure if you have anything that you disagree with or agree with, comment below. Let us know what you think. Also, make sure you check out our website. We've got a bunch more things added there that we are selling. and make sure whatever you pack in, you pack out. This is Garrett with Deranged Off-Road, and thanks for watching.
I'm going. Get that off, Phil.